Hey everyone, it's Rob and welcome to the Leading with Genuine Care pod. I am so grateful for your time. I have a special guest today, Sister Lucy Kurien. You won't want to miss this. Let me start with an introduction about this amazing human being. Called to serve, Sister Lucy was born in 1955 in India. After several years of formal education, at age 14, she moved to Mumbai, where she was profoundly distressed by the appalling poverty and squalor in the city. Having carried a strong inner desire for justice since childhood, she felt a deep calling to make a difference for the life of the poor and famished around her. So in 1980, she joined the Sisters of the Cross, a religious order. It was a difficult decision that meant giving up the bliss of independent and free life. And after 4 years of training, she was professed to the order. But 9 years later, Sister Lucy left the convent's cloistered walls and in 1989 joined HOPE, the Human Organization for Pioneering and Education, which helped marginalized women gain modest employment and was founded by one of her own colleagues at the Sister of the Cross. A traumatic incident resulting in the death of a pregnant woman and her unborn child at the hands of this woman's drunken husband prompted Sister Lucy to realize that she could no longer be a silent spectator to the horrific violence and abuse against women. In 1997, Mayhair, which means Mother's Home, was founded to provide a safe haven for battered and destitute women. Sister Lucy started Mayhair activities in one small home, and her tireless efforts and the work of the dedicated staff led to the expansion of Mayhair activities throughout India. In 2011, unable to ignore the plight of abandoned men on the streets, Mayhair opened its first home for destitute, aged, and mentally challenged men. And today, Mayhair reaches the life of the poorest of the poor through as many as 24 different outreach projects, including 624 village self-help groups and 52 interfaith caste-free homes that currently shelter 984 children, 142 men, and over 572 destitute women in India. Since its founding, Mayhair has provided care and shelter for more than 5,000 children and 5,900 women. A devoted Catholic Christian, Sister Lucy has an unshakable faith in confluence of religions of the world in attaining human well-being. She established Mayhair as an interfaith organization, which seeks to help in blessing all of the religions and faiths in its work for the weak and poor around. In 2017, on the 20th anniversary of Mayhair's birth, Sister Lucy founded the Interfaith Association for Service to Humanity and Nature. Currently, the association has members in 12 countries, including India. Sister Lucy also has a special love for the environment. She works hard to protect it and started several activities. Wherever she goes, she makes it a point to make to people the sensitive nature of this need. Her heart calls for planting trees and tending them is her special hobby. In 2017, Mayhair was awarded consultative status by the United Nations. Sister Lucy has received more than 214 national and international awards in recognition for her work. She was a 2015 recipient for her outstanding contribution to women's empowerment. Other awards include Women of the Year Awards in 2016, 2018, and 2020, the Mother Teresa Award for Social Work, awards for human excellence in the category of Unity of Religions. On International Women's Day 2018, the Women's International Club named her Women of the Year. She received a Global Women's Summit Leadership Award in the USA and attended the Clinton Global Initiative. She received the 2019 Service Excellence Recognition Award from the Rotary Club and the Social Protection for Women and Girls Award from the Council of Women in India. Sister Lucy was selected 12th out of 100 in the world's 100 most inspiring people by Magazine, and in 2021 received recognition for dedicated social service from the Society by the International Association of Lions Club. Maher's work has been chronicled in many publications, books, videos, and was the subject of an Austrian film, Sister Heart. Now, few things bring happiness and satisfaction to Sister Lucy and the hardworking Maher staff more than the accomplishments of the children, women, and men at Maher. Currently, more than 92 Maher youth are enrolled in college, and 106 have earned undergraduate and graduate degrees. Maher youth have led peace camps in the US, India, and Africa, and 70% of Maher women have been rehabilitated. Residents who are not able to leave Maher contribute to the community's well-being at whatever level they can. Now, Sister Lucy's dreams are far from over. She is committed to co-creating a better India by establishing Maher homes and outreach programs in every Indian state, and committed to collaborating with leaders who feel called to create spaces where society's vulnerable can rise to new life. So, without further ado, please welcome my special guest, Sister Lucy Kurien. Sister Lucy, I'm so happy to see you today and be able to spend time with you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I thought maybe I would start with a quote. And I would be interested in hearing your thoughts on the quote. And the quote goes like this: "Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not come. We have only today. Let us begin." And that's a quote from Mother Teresa. And I would be so wonderful to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay. Well, that's so beautiful, because living for this day is what I believe in, because we don't know whether the tomorrow is ours, no, or tomorrow is mine. So whatever possible for the people, and of course for oneself, do it today. I don't believe in putting off the work for tomorrow. Okay, whatever we can do today, do the good that you can do today. And that's what I also strongly believe. And I won't say like Mother Teresa I will be able to do, but whatever I can, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about the impact that Mother Teresa had on you?
Yeah, when I was about, I have a feeling it must have been 14. I don't remember exactly, but it was my teenage time. Okay, when I met her, or I saw the work that she was doing, and I was really impressed by what she was doing. And I even decided to join at that time. Okay, I wanted to join her congregation, etc. I don't know whether I had mentioned last time, but for me it was so very impressive. And then of course I just saw her from very far away distance, because the crowd was there and I could not go close to her. And I saw her from far, and I thought, oh my God, she's, I had seen the work before, okay. So I said to myself, oh, she's the one who has put all these things together. So that was the thing. And when I was about 19 or 20, I really decided to join the congregation. And I went to Mother Teresa's congregation and I informed them that I would like to join. And of course, they were happy. And they even give me their form to fill up to, to allowing me to come to the congregation. But they told me that my parents have to sign, give the signature. So I decided to travel back because I was in Bombay. And I decided to travel to Kerala to get the signature because those days, this online or even posting was very difficult. So I decided to travel to my home back to get her signature, to get their signature. And can I repeat all that, what had happened at that time?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what happened was that when I went home and I told them that this is what I decided, there was so much of hue and cry in my home because my parents didn't expect me to be thinking even in that line. Okay. And my mother thought, what is she doing? What is she become? She become crazy, things like that. Because my mother knew that Mother Teresa was picking up even leprosy patients, and they were very much concerned that those days in 1974, I think it was at that time. So it was, leprosy was rampant in Pune and in India. And so my parents were very, very worried about that. So they said, no, nothing doing. You cannot go and join Mother Teresa. And also, my mother, by and large, she never liked any of her daughter joining any of the religious congregation, leave alone Mother Teresa.
So you ultimately did join the...
Yes. What happened is that since I knew that my mother and my father was very sad about my decision, I tore the paper and I went away back to Bombay because I was working at that time. So I went back to work in Bombay. But somehow the thought, because I had seen the slums in Bombay and I had seen women and children on the street, and I always felt there must be something can be done. That time, I was full of energy. As you see me, even now I am full of energy. So at that time I was on fire. So I thought I really, if I join Mother Teresa's, I'll be able to clean up the slums of Bombay. That was my idea. What kind of, I don't know what of an illusion or what it was. I don't know what was going on in my brain. And I thought, no, something has to be done here. Okay. And, but I did not know exactly what it was to be done. So I thought if I joined Mother Teresa's congregation, because they were already looking after so many poor, I thought that would be an answer to clean the slum. And that's why I decided to join there. And then when I saw my mother and my father so upset, I decided not to, and then went back, and then still it was worrying me. And then I decided to join the Holy Cross because somebody else came and told me there's another congregation. And when I saw, okay, they were not looking after leprosy patients. So I went back to my parents and I said, no, here there are no leprosy patients and I would like to join that order. Of course, my mother again opposed to my idea, opposed very much, but still I finally pushed my way through and I went and joined the Holy Cross.
And if I have my memory, if my memory is serving me, you were part of that convent for about 4 years. Is that correct?
No, more than that. I was there with them for training, of course, for 4 years. And after that, I was there with them about 9 years.
I see.
Yeah.
And then there was a point where you decided to leave. Is that correct?
No, I did not decide to leave. I asked them whether I could join and do so, because the work that I was doing was not really touching the very poor. Okay, so I asked the congregation sisters whether I could go and work in a social center. To go to a village where one sister was working. So I went there, and that was in 1989. So I went there and I joined, and I worked with them for 9 years. During that time, the one woman had approached me for shelter, and it was not possible for me because it was no more or less like a convent setup, and though it was in the village, and we were working for the poor, but we were not giving shelter for women. We were only giving them training and trying to see if they can bringing more income for their family, etc. So it was not giving shelter or anything like that. So I felt somewhere that these women need to be helped immediately, because I had to see them really on the street. And after this particular woman, one particular woman approached me saying that she needed shelter. And, having this kind of setup, it was not possible for me to give shelter. And this woman who came to me asking for shelter, she was 7 months pregnant. And I could not give any shelter, because where will I give her? What was such a thing? And also the sister in charge, she was also very worried because she was pregnant. And she said, Lucy, do you know what you are asking for? You cannot just take in a woman just like that. So I was supposed to send her back. And that very night, I think she and her husband, they must have had some fight. I really don't know what happened. And in that anger, he poured kerosene and set her on fire.
Mm.
And I heard the shouting and yelling, so I ran there to see what was happening. And so when I reached there, I realized it was the same case. So I took her to the what you call a nearby hospital. It took me some time to reach there, because what happened is that there's a we were in a very remote village, and even an auto rickshaw was not possible to find. And also because women was burned, and then people knew it is police case and things like that, nobody was coming forward. Finally, we wrapped her up in one cloth and showed that she's just pregnant, she's in labor like that, and we took her to the hospital. When I reached her to the hospital, doctor examined and told me she's already 90% burned. And then I asked doctor if anything can be done in order to save the baby, because she was 7 months pregnant. So when doctor, through my insistence, he took her to the theater, and what we operated on her. And when doctor operated on her, what we got in the hand was a fully burned baby or fully cooked baby. This was the thing that, I was so frustrated after that, because I was thinking, what am I done now? When she's dead, I am here to help, and I didn't have the courage before. And, I was really blaming myself for not having the courage at the time when she needed me most. So all this was like literally eating me up from inside, and I was really frustrated after this incident when I came back to my convent, because, over the years, this guilt feeling, turned into, I think, a lot of anger, frustration, and people knew I was never like that. I was such a sweet person. And suddenly the people start living with me noticed that, I was becoming very irritable. So they asked me to go for counseling. And then, fortunately for me, I went to, they sent me to a man who was a very open minded Catholic priest. And he, in fact, advised me, saying that, Lucy, instead of getting frustrated inside, why don't you go and do something? But I was thinking, what will I do? I'm a nun, I have no money and no education. So how will I do anything? So then once during my sitting for the counseling, he mentioned that, if you have love, you do. So this thing really struck me. And then I came back, I started thinking. And I don't know from where finally the courage came. So I wrote to them saying that really I want to move. and I want to do something about it. But it was not, it was really taking very long for me to get the permission through, because this particular incident took place in 1991, and it took me really very long to get a permission. And then in 1997, I set up our first home for women. After a lot of struggle, after a lot of what you call um, not really how you call it, because there was no money, to set up any home. So a lot of insecurity and things like that. And finally, I got all the permissions through, and then I set up our first home.
I read that when you started the first home, you had 20 rupees, which I think is like 25 cents or something like that.
Yeah, that was the time, that was the rupees that we used to get as dance. Okay, we used to get pocket money, and that 20 rupees, I moved out from that, not knowing where I was going, but I was allowed to continue staying in the same community where I was staying. So it was not a big problem. So, but then with this 20 rupees, I was going round and round to find more money, to find, so there are people even with 2 rupees as donors for me. And that's how I managed to raise the money. And the same priest where I was going in for counseling, he put me in touch with the Austrian person. They were my first donors. And then they helped me about, with enough money. That is, we call it in India, 1 lakh rupees. And that was enough for me those days to buy a small piece of land. And that was in the village, which is called Vadubudruk, where my first home is. And with that, we started our first home. Now we have 59 homes in 6 different states of India.
And you named the homes Maher. And why did you name it that? What does that mean?
Because when I was giving the name to a project, I said it should mean something very beautiful. So Maher means in a local language, mother's home. And for a married woman, mother's home is something that's very loving, caring, understanding. So that was the name I chose. And I did not want, though I am a Catholic, I did not want any religion to come in my way. Because when I started it for the people, not for any particular religion, caste, or class. I just wanted to start for people, no matter from what religion or caste they come. Yeah, so I did not want to name any project which belongs to any particular religion as such.
Yes.
So I was choosing common names for every home, so that, it doesn't belong to any particular religion or caste.
Yes. And I read that your motto is there is always room for one more.
Yeah. That's the motto I kept, so that, and that's how I landed opening more and more homes. Because when I started saying yes to people, then naturally we had to open more homes. And because of that particular experience of sending back that woman, I don't like sending away people who come to our door. I don't think I have ever done that, not giving shelter to people who had come, unless it is another reason. If they were alcoholic or something like that, they may they may spoil the atmosphere or something like that, then yes. But otherwise, I have never turned back anyone.
When you started the first home, were you scared?
There was little fear, because finance, I did not know where the money will come from, how will I find the money. I am not qualified to write projects, etc. So I was a bit concerned that will I succeed? Okay, and but the more I was doubting, the more I held on or hold to the divine energy, and I was all the time talking to myself or talking to the divine men, walk with me, because I don't know the other where I'm going to keep my next step. So I kept on holding, because there was nobody else to support me. Even the priest who stood by me initially was not there to ask for any advice, and nobody was there, in fact. So, because my congregation also had taken from me an MOU saying that they will not give me any personnel nor money. So then I had to find my way. So I was not sure whom to rely on, whom to talk to. There was nobody, and I did not know the local language because I am coming from Kerala. I have not learned the language. Even now, I struggle with the Marathi and Hindi. I know a little bit of English, but the other, I don't know other language. So it was very big challenge for me. How will I find? Will I find? Will that be okay? And things. So the naturally, when I didn't put any saint's name for our project, and I didn't put a crucifix and things like that in the house, naturally the church did not accept at all. So it was very difficult from the local church and others to get any approval. And the other side, because my name sounds so much Christian, people thought I had come for conversion, and there was a lot of difficulties which I faced at that time.
I'm curious how you stayed convicted to your beliefs, even with maybe some of the, not complete support, say from the faith organizations who wanted maybe you to approach it in a different way.
Though I didn't change my religion, nor I did not accepted anything. I just wanted. I knew God means, according to me, it's a divine energy. Okay, so I was only clinging on to that and not to any particular religion. And I said to myself, this is the divine work, and then somehow the money will come. That type of faith I had. I think the faith formation that I received from my home and later on, even in the church, maybe must have been very, very strong. That's what I feel. So I never. There was doubts like will I succeed, etc. But I knew that something was inside me that like to say that there was kind of inner voice that all will be well. Yes. There was a lot of fear around me, but I never give in to that strongly.
You mentioned that after that horrific event that you experienced with the woman who was pregnant, that you were encouraged to seek out therapy. And I'm curious, or counseling, I should say. I'm curious your thoughts on people seeking out counseling. Now is a time where we hear a lot about mental health challenges. And I'd just be curious to hear your thoughts on others seeking out counseling. Counseling or therapy.
Counseling, therapy, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, not only people coming to us physically for help, but a lot of people now, especially with a lot of phone calls, people are all the time on the phone with us, like they have problem, how to solve this problem. We are, lots and lots and lots of fun, especially now during this pandemic. In fact, we had our 2 counselors, and I put it on the web page because all the calls were coming to me or to one of our other colleagues, and it was really difficult. So I even put it on I think it is still there on a web page, that to call on this number. So we have different people now calling on different numbers so that we can cope up. Otherwise, it was really becoming too much because um, we have to take calls even in the night, and then during the day to work, it was really difficult. So then now we have special people answering all the phone calls, and of course, many phone calls even come to me till now, and I answer them, try to answer as much as possible.
What happens in the homes? What is the care that is given to the people that are there?
When the women come to us, then we find out in which category of women, because some of them are mentally disturbed or some of them are mentally challenged. Especially when we pick up the women from the street, we don't know what was wrong with them. Okay, now like yesterday when we picked up, she was very old and she was just in rags. She was sleeping on the street, and then I didn't even know. I just went there and I asked her, where are you staying? Can you come? She was not able to utter a word, and it was dark and she was lying there. So I just carried her in our car and I brought her to our home. And after giving food and giving her bath and all, she got her energy. And then she told me that she has a daughter, and her daughter was beating her a lot, pulling on her hair and telling her to go out. That's why she was on the street. She told me, and I was asking, how many days are you now on the street? And she said almost 3 months. And she also told me, whenever people gave me something on the street, because she was sleeping on the street, some people or other gave her some food and that's it. And she had not had bath for the past this 3 months, and it was the first bath after 3 months that when we had given her, and she had not changed the clothes. The clothes was really smelling. We could not even sit in the car with her when we took her. And then we cleaned her up and fed her. And then she told me, maybe I should go back to my daughter. I said, if she's harming you, why you want to go back? But after all, it is her daughter. Now let us see. We are talking to the daughter. If she's prepared to take her back, we'll send her. If not, we will look after her.
Mm.
And so we find out what is happening to everyone and where the woman, whether she needs a shelter in an aged home, because we have an aged home. We also look out whether she has to be in the mentally disturbed, or she has to go to the mentally challenged, or in the short stay home. So different categories of homes we have created, and as per that we send the women. And of course in Calcutta and in Nellore, Andhra Pradesh, we have just one home, so they are all together. Then slowly, now because we just began these homes, then slowly we will try to segregate them, and then we can open more homes around our place, and then we can separate the different, because different women come with the different needs. So as per that, we try to send them into different homes, and they will need also different type of treatments.
And it's not just women, correct? You serve children and men as well?
We have over nearly 1,000 children now in different homes, because as I said, we have in 6 states, so naturally a lot of children are there. So not only children, we also have homes for men. What we call the homeless men, no? For various reasons, the men reached on the street. So if they need any shelter, we bring them, and if they are willing to come. Some of them are alcoholic and they don't want to come. That's fine. They can see, but we always offer them that there is a home, you can come, and if they are willing, then I bring them. Or some of the men, they come on their own saying that they lost everything. Like now, recently we had a case during the Corona time. His son was very sick, and then he treated him, and he sold the whatever he had with him. And finally, the son died of Corona, and now he lost everything. He has no money. So then he came, and he's so old to work. So he came to Maher. So we have people like that. So then we take them.
How did the COVID pandemic, and how has it affected your operations?
Oh, it was really terrible, especially in Pune, because people live in these crowded areas. Lots of migrants were there. Lots and lots of migrant workers we had from neighboring states, and it was really horrible. And when the lockdown came suddenly in month of March, people normally they come and donate things to us. But I now suddenly noticed there were so many people at our gate begging for food. So I said, why is this happening? Immediately I sent our social workers to find. Of course, there was a lot of fear because of Corona. Will we get affected and things like that? But still, our social workers went there and found out what was going on. And then we found out these migrant workers had lost their job, and that's why they were asking for food. So then because from the police I had the permission to take my car and move out onto the street because we needed that. So since I had the permit, I went onto the street and I saw hundreds of people walking back. So I stopped my car and I asked the people, where are you all walking? Then they said, we don't have no vehicle now and all our money is over. So we are going back to our village. And some of those villages are very, very far. I mean, 1,200 kilometers. And some of them are even walking 2,000 kilometers, things like that. I said, how will you all manage? Because there's no food on the street. And because everything was shut down. Then they showed me some, like biscuit packets and some water. So then I immediately called up to our Maher home because the people who are walking, they are walking very close to our home. So then I said, immediately collect the food and bring it to the street. So, we have different kitchen in Vadu itself. We have about 12 kitchens. So from all the kitchens, whatever food was cooked for the evening, we took the thing. On that day itself, we served for more than 300 people. And then from next day onwards, since the children were also not going to school, everything's got closed, and we had the college going children, I requested all of them to make chapatis, and then we cooked food, and then we started taking food packets to the street. And by the grace of God, I did not know from where we are going to get, because I knew that our storeroom was only for limited time. Whether we are going to get food, I had no clue, but I just started serving people. And we started, at the end of the program, we almost served more than 30,000 people.
Jeez.
And then we started also giving food grains, and we gave food grain to now about, it has touched the figure, more than 64,000 families. Okay. And still we never run short of things, because people saw that we were doing and people started donating, because there was a lot of fear in my social workers, whether, and they also said, Didi is gone crazy. She's not realizing that our children might not have food the way she's giving away. It is true. I also, sometimes I realized, my God, if I give away, will my children have, the lockdown was not stopped. I never knew the lockdown will continue for so long. I thought, for 3 months and then it will open. But then I realized it was ongoing and it was not opening at all. But what happened is that where Maher was buying the grain, those shopkeepers, they knew us. So they would open the shops in the middle of the night when there are no police, and they would reach things to us. And that was one of the things that we managed. And then also, people saw us and people were bringing their food grain in the car, because police give them permission to reach the food grain to the people. So that way we managed. And it was all only sheer goodness of the people that we were able to help so many thousands of people.
How did you stay safe?
I don't know, but I was safe and all my social workers were safe. are safe. Okay, a few of them got affected, and really the ones who went to the village and the ones who really went to help people, nothing happened. Okay, those who lived in fear, I think they had more, but all my children were safe. A few of them got here and there, little bit affected, not hospitalized, but they were isolated in a center. But then none of them needed hospitalization, except one sister who was in Jharkhand. She, of course, she always had asthma problem, and so when she got corona, she became worse. And but she's also, all of them are back to normal. Nobody got seriously. Nobody became so serious.
Interesting. I wanted to ask you what it was like meeting an American president, President Bill Clinton, and what did the two of you talk about, or what did he say to you?
Actually, it was the Clinton Foundation. No, there was a program, and I was invited for that. I had no clue what it is all about. Actually, as I said, I'm not a person who's read, or I'm not a computer techie to search what it is all about. I just went. And then when I was at the meeting, then he called out my name, and that's how everything happened. And then it was such a strange thing for me to be there, and at the same time, it was so beautiful.
Had you ever been to the United States before that time?
Yes, I have been.
Oh, okay.
In fact, yeah, I have been earlier also to other places, and in one place that was in the earlier stages of my, I think it was in 2005, my first visit. And at that time, I had been to Florida, and really we had no money in Maher at that time. And there was one priest who heard me sharing what I am doing, and he was really convinced to help me. And he told me, Lucy, come to my office. So next day I went to his office, and he said, Lucy, you know that I have a lot of money and I can help you. I was so happy. But he put a one condition. He said, see, you need to teach some Bible to the children. I said, no, I am not going to do that. Then when he this thing, after some time, I was staying with my uncle. So he came to my uncle's house and told them, tell Lucy, no Americans will know that whether she is teaching the Bible or no. She has just to send a report and show some pictures of the Bible being distributed. Then my uncle tried to convince me, Lucy, this is what I said. No, uncle, no way. I don't want, because I said, even if Americans don't come to know, my conscience will know I have done that. And I don't want to go anything that my conscience is telling me I am wrong. I will not do, and I don't want that money. So, that father, basically, he was from India, and he knew how much I must be struggling for money to feed all these people. So he was very compassionate, but he had no other money, but only this money that was coming for Bible. So I said to father, no, I rather prefer to starve than take that money and write wrong report. I cannot write that. So I don't want that money, and I did not take any money from him.
Yes. Okay. You also met another well-known person, Pope Francis. And I'm curious what that was like, and what did you say to him, or what did he say to you?
Oh my God, that was such a heavenly experience, because when I went to him and I explained to him what we are doing. Of course, I have written a letter also to him before that, and so he knew very well what we are doing. And the minute when I went there, I think in such short time, 3 times he told me, Sister Lucy, pray for me. And that humbled me to the core of my being. I just could not imagine a man of that type was asking me to pray. I was wanting to go on my knees, but he wouldn't allow. So yeah, he doesn't like even me to kiss his ring or something like that. But I did it. But then he was so, yeah. For me, I feel he's a saint.
What are your thoughts on how we could create a more equitable society?
But that's what we are dreaming, okay? And when I say we don't want the type of religion, we don't want this, we don't want that, that's what we dream of, no?
Yeah.
But it will take time. But I wish it would be that way. It's going to take a lot of time for people to understand.
Mm-hmm. I want to embarrass you a little bit more. I know how humble you are, but I read that magazine out of Germany has a list of the top 100 most inspiring people. And I noticed that you were listed at number 12. You were listed ahead of the Dalai Lama and Pope Francis. And as I mentioned, I know how humble you are, but I have to ask you, how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I'm still worthy to be that way. Okay, it will take me some time to understand how do they put me there. But anyway, it came as a totally surprise. But you know what happened? These are all humans who are doing all this. You know, we have to know where we are within ourselves. No, that's what I feel. Okay. Let people put me on 12 or 100 or think that's not, for me, it's not too important. But provided myself, I know where we should be. That is to be humble and do the service that is possible by you.
Mm. Many of the listeners of this podcast are leaders in different ways around the world. And I'm curious what your advice would be to them about how we can feel more deeply connected to a stranger or to somebody that we don't even know, or somebody who's struggling, like the woman that you mentioned earlier who was on the street and you picked her up. Any advice that you could share?
All that I don't have. I'm not a person to advise anybody. I don't have any advice because, as I said, neither I'm educated nor qualified to give any advice to anybody. For me, what I feel, let your life be. I like Mahatma Gandhi says, let your life be a message to the people. That is what, you know, what I feel. Something. I don't know how you can call it. And let there be love in your heart. That's all I can say. Okay, I don't have any advice for anybody, because who am I to give advice to anybody? You know, yeah. Because I myself, I'm so imperfect in everything. Mm-hmm. So when we are imperfect in everything, how I can give any advice?
Yes. Well stated.
All of us are struggling to be someone, I mean, to do something or to be someone. So not to be someone, to be my real self, you know? So what I feel is, I don't know, am I worthy to give advice to anyone? I don't think so.
I can appreciate that. You mentioned love. What does love mean? And can you talk about the power of love?
Oh, the power of love. My God. That's what I experience every day. Okay. I don't know, a simple touch to the children, just a simple smile, or just looking into their eyes. Just that's enough for my children. I know I would like to be much more time with my children, with my people, but giving the number of people that are with me, it's not possible. The one side is the staff, the other side is the people, and the other side the donors and the children who are there, and you know, it's not possible. But at the same time, I feel the need is to keep smile on your face in spite of all the work that is on your shoulder. If you can keep a smile, that itself will what you call bring a lot of um, I mean a lot of healing to the people who are in pain. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. I'll finish here by reading what I see behind you above your head, and that is the world is one family.
Yes.
And why is that sign in where you are, and what does that mean to you and Mahir?
Yeah, which I like it very much. That's an Indian quote that's saying Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That means the world is one family, you know. As I said earlier, because we have children from different religion with me, different caste with me, but I'm not bothered which child belongs to which religion and which caste, you know. Just accept them with love. And when we have love, we will forget all these kind of barriers that we have created. Okay, why religion barrier, why caste barrier, why class barriers, you know, why we are created. I feel uh, it should not be another. So my whole thing is go out with love and make it create that world as one family, which is such a beautiful thing in India. Of course, we are forgetting all our teachings. I know that we are going drifting far away from what used to be there. And so, in a own little way, what I'm trying to teach in the children also the same. See, let us not fight for this kind of things. There are better things to fight for. Why we want to fight for these small things, you know? So this is what I try to instill in our children. The values from every religion is teaching us to love. So take that.
Thank you for that. That is beautiful. And Sister Lucy, thank you for the work that you do in this world and for the beautiful energy that you bring and inspire to so many of us. I'm so grateful for your time and humbled to have been able to spend this time with you and chat with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.